Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Laphroaig 25 year from 2018. Dustin, did a Laphroaig comparison, and way back in the day, I did a review of the 2017 25-year-old. But it's been a long time. They're different every year, and this one is no exception. This is an
worst box to take a bottle out of ever.
Not an easy thing.
Well, no, Aaron 25, you're still the king of trash boxes, but
let's see if we can get this Laphroaig 25 out here. Always comes in a very nice wooden box, but a little tricky to get out of since it's doesn't move up top. Dustin, what makes this 2018 special is it's all bourbon maturation, so no sherry. So usually with these 25s, there's a little bit of sherry cask maturation in it. In this particular one, there is not, and it comes in at one of the highest ABVs I've ever seen out of Laphroaig 25.
Yeah, 52.
52%. Dustin and I are huge fans of this whiskey. We just think for the price point, what you get, age statement, cask strength, this is the best bang for your buck buy in this age statement in this price range.
Yeah, I know they're getting a little pricey here in the States, but we're still finding them in that 400 range overseas. So
yeah, very nice.
As long as you can get these around 400, you just can't go wrong.
450 is a great
Such a good buy.
And again, 52% ABV, natural cask strength, 25-year-old Laphroaig, all bourbon cask maturation. Dustin, let's get into it.
Mike, this is so citrusy. Like, that is the first thing, every time I go back to these Laphroaig 25s.
Tropical citrus fruit.
Tropical citrus, just, it's beautiful. And it's something you don't get until maybe you start getting on the Laphroaig 18. You don't get these notes at all on the 10s.
No, even on the 18s, that's a completely different animal. It really is. Like, to get to these tropical notes with Laphroaig, you have to get up to these 25-year-old whiskeys. Not even the 21 came off tropical.
No, you're right, it didn't. I think you start getting citrus on the 18. You don't get, it doesn't get really tropical. You start getting like, almost like a, grapefruit kind of notes coming in earlier on.
Good one, right?
But you don't get the tropical notes. But
I mean, there's a little bit of lemon zest here, lemon oil.
Yep.
It's a very dense Laphroaig 25. This comes off far more oily and a higher ABV. It is than the other ones.
It's oily and meaty, like, for sure.
Comparatively, yeah. Compared to the other 25s.
The smoke it's subdued, but it's everywhere. Like, you know, when we talk about whiskey, sometimes we'll talk about, I'm getting this note, I'm getting that note. And then sometimes we'll include, and it's barbecued. And it's a little bit smoked. Everything here is slightly smoked. Like, even those tropical fruits have a little bit of smoke with them. Everything is just, like, it's like the peat, instead of being like this overt, obvious thing on the nose, has spread into every little facet. It's broadened itself.
It's almost tried to make its presence not known, the fact that it is everywhere.
Yeah.
It's there, you got to look at infrared to see it.
But yet it's enhancing and making every single thing better.
Dude, these 25s are just magic. Every once in a while, when I know I want to have a good whiskey, I always go back to these Laphroaig 25s. I don't care if it's 16, 17, 18, 19. They're all just such consistent, good experiences. Yeah,
no, you know you're getting great whiskey. And you're getting a whiskey that I think is drinkable at any time. This could be a summer whiskey.
Absolutely.
Some peated whiskeys we think of as being more winter.
Lagavulin.
Yeah,
Ardbeg.
but because of the tropical notes, this is beautiful in the summer.
Beautiful summertime.
At the same time, when it's cold out, you just start noticing the smoke more.
It warms you up.
Noticing it, yeah.
Okay, but so yeah, other than compared to the other 25-year-old whiskeys, this is definitely the most dense, the most oily one. The oak note on this one is light, but it is substantially heavy. And what I mean by that is you kind of have to get to it. It's not an overpowering oak note like you can get sometimes on 25-year-old whiskeys. But when you do kind of pick it up, it's a dense note.
Yeah. Well, and again, everything here is integrated. I also get a lot of dirt, like clay, earthy, like but beautiful. I mean, like, you know, I can't even really describe it's like a mud bath kind of thing. Like, I mean, it's like stuff that's meant to be messed with. It's just beautiful.
Exotic dirt.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. I'll tell you what, I'm not getting a lot of, you're not getting a lot of the hospital medicinal note.
No.
Hardly at all. And yeah, I mean, finally Laphroaig, and I love that about Laphroaig. I love Laphroaig, as you know.
Yeah.
I love the 10 cask strength. That's one of my go-tos, especially when I'm out of bars because it's readily available. And I love that Laphroaig note because I love Laphroaig. But even though it's not here, there is still a lot of elements of Laphroaig. It's just not that gasoline.
Yeah. At the very finish, I definitely get a very distinct Laphroaig. There's a earthy element that's very much, okay, this is Laphroaig. Yeah, but I don't even get like, a lot of time Laphroaig gets like this cigarette ash kind of thing going on.
Yeah, it's not here at all. It's very clean for Laphroaig.
Yeah, this is very clean, but oh man, it's so deep. It's just rich, Mike.
Mm-hmm. Lovely whiskey. I mean, it really is. Me and Dustin and I go back and forth of which one is a better one of the last 4 or 5 years. This one being Dustin's favorite and the 17 being mine. I tell you what, though, one thing I will never argue is this is the most oily, rich, dense version of this whiskey. What do you pick it on top?
Oh my goodness, Mike. So right off the bat, super oily. The smoke is not super present in the nose, but boy is it smoky when you get to drinking it. It's got a nice, beautiful alcohol and smoke come together. The finish is this beautiful vanilla with some tropical fruits. Up front, it is just everything you want in a 25-year-old whiskey, where it's just so complicated, so nuanced, so deep, where you're getting a little bit of earth, you're getting fruits, you're getting citrus, you're getting oak, you're getting...
It's got a good bite, too.
Yeah, maybe like hints of like tobacco type notes that you think of more in like bourbons, but there's a little bit of that. There even might be some hints of leather. It is really complicated.
For sure. The smoke, you're right, it's big time. Mm-hmm. It's big time smoke. And the Laphroaig is here.
Yeah.
On the palate. A lot of lemon, oily lemon.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I do pick up a little bit of a grain note, which it's a little bit, don't normally pick it up there. It's usually way in the background, even with the younger ones. But a small bit of a grain note, vanilla, and then a nice little wood spice kind of comes in on the finish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No grain note for you?
I'm not getting the grain though. I was looking for that as soon as you said that.
I don't often get it, but there is a grainy note to it. Just kind of came in right as soon as I swallowed. But again, transitions are the normal things.
Yeah. I don't get the medicinal iodine note. That's the one thing maybe missing from a Laphroaig here.
As soon as I finish, to swallow the initial feeling on the linger, the initial thought was just ashy Laphroaig.
Yeah. Well, I'm still tasting right now. I'm still tasting Laphroaig. It's this distinct. It's the sweetness of Laphroaig with the earthy elements, but not the medicinal and not the smoke that's lingering with me here.
It's a different smoke. It's very much like when we looked at the Ardbeg. Like that Ardbeg 25, it was a smoky smoke.
Yeah.
As opposed to a peaty smoke. And I think these whiskeys transition from a peaty smoke to an oak-driven wood smoke. About the time they hit this 25-year, the wood smoke takes over.
Yeah, I mean, I think they play together well. I mean, the beauty of these old Islas is that the peat doesn't really fade; it spreads.
It transitions.
It gets involved. Peat is no longer like a distinct note. Peat is part of every note that happens. The oak has peat in it. The fruits have peat. Like it's everywhere, but it's not just right here by itself.
It just to me. On usually 25-year-old Islay whiskeys, the peat just deconstructs. I don't care if it's just Laphroaig or Lagavulin or Bowmore or Ardbeg. All of those 25-year-old whiskeys, you will say things like, just like you said here today, an earthy element. But then it's smoky, but then it's fruity. It deconstructs. Peat to me is earthy and it's smoky. But I agree, when it's together and young, there's what we think of as a peaty smoke. Yeah. And then as it gets older, especially when it hits that quarter century mark, I think it breaks apart and it gets smoky on one end and then earthy elements, but they're just two distinct things at that point where I think it just deconstructs. Yeah. I don't know. That's more and more that's my take.
Yeah, I mean, again, my thought is more that just the peat saturates everything else and it starts it becomes part of the other flavors instead of its own thing. And to me, that's really where you truly can appreciate what peat has really done. Whereas before that, it's just like, oh yeah, that's peat too.
Yeah, there's a shock of peat, like with young whiskeys, especially like a Laphroaig 10 cask strength, and then there's the true refinement of the peated whiskey, which this is. All right, so I tell you what, a couple of drops of water, and I was very careful. Just put 3 little drops of water in here. I would say the lemon is a little more prevalent. However, smoke took a small step back with water, a little bit more of an oak note, get a little bit more of a bitter note, slight little bit of chocolate, and almost like orange juice.
I'm getting lemon, grapefruit, smoke, oak smoke. Lemon, grapefruit, oak smoke. They're just this one mix of those 3 things all together.
So when I said orange juice, or do you think when you said grapefruit and I said orange juice?
I think we're saying the same thing, but...
we're just a little bit off as far as what our tastes are.
Well, you said that, I was giving some of the sweetness to the lemon and then thinking the grapefruit was the
acidic.
Whereas maybe you're giving more sweetness to the orange. But yeah, I think we're
maybe.
doing the same thing there.
Yeah, maybe. I tell you what, though.
Now I'm actually getting a little bit of medicinal notes now.
Yeah, Ames getting ashier.
It's teased out a little, that medicinal Laphroaig.
Mm-hmm. It's getting ashier.
God, I don't know if it's better or worse, but it smells awesome.
Yeah, it's great whiskey. That's what's nice about this one being 52% and all bourbon cask maturation is, I feel a little bit better adding water to old bourbon cask whiskey as opposed to old sherry cask whiskey. You always have to be careful with old whiskey with water. Sometimes they unravel, but it feels like the bourbon doesn't unravel as quickly as sherry cask old whiskey.
Tell you what, the water did nothing to the taste.
Still a banger?
Everything's still there. It's still delicious. It's just as rich. It didn't get watered down. The oils are definitely there.
Mm.
God, this is a great whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a whiskey, you can put a little bit of water in without any risks. This is there. I don't know if you want to bring this down to like 46% if that's your drinking level. That might start getting a little...
Too subtle.
Yeah. But man...
Oh, it's great whiskey.
Because you don't want to ruin the mouthfeel, which is so rich and oily.
And there's so much of this whiskey.
Yeah.
It's tropical. What sets this apart from, say, an 18-year-old is tropical fruit on the nose, the extra oil, the ABV, and just that oak note, and just you can really get into the cask maturation a little bit.
This is definitely punchier for sure. And I mean, again, we're talking 4%. It's not the alcohol that's doing it. It's just more time and more age. These were magic casks, man.
And Laphroaig pumps these out every year. I can't remember when they started making 25s, but like the 25s have been a yearly thing, like in 12, 13, 14, 15. I mean, they're always sending these.
And they're not making small amounts of these. These are, I don't know what the production number is, but it's got to be...
These are regularly available bottles.
Yeah, these are not hard to find.
No, you can get Laphroaig.
The only negative is, like I said, they're starting to get pricey here in the States. I'm hoping tariff stuff will save us and we'll get this thing back to about 500, which is where it should be at the high end in the States.
I agree, high end.
Yeah.
It's a $500 bottle.
It's a $500 bottle all day, but I just prefer paying $300 or $400 for them.
There you own that, man. Central Wine had a great deal on them about last year.
God.
$3.99 shipped anywhere on the east side of the Mississippi River.
If those guys would still ship here, man.
Great deal. All right, so where are you as far as Whisky Score?
Mike, I'm going higher than I was planning. I was going to be a 90, but I actually think legitimately this is a 91. It's one of those rare whiskeys that I think has gone up in score for me over time.
Man, I tell you what, one of us need to put out a card and write it down, and the next person says their score, because I'm right there with you. It's a 91. It's a little bit better than the Lagavulin one I had.
Yeah.
But this is a whiskey that I would enjoy anytime. Anytime someone would want to pour me a Lagavulin or a Laphroaig 25, I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Just got done cutting the grass, I'm hot and sweaty. Of course I'll take that whiskey.
Yeah.
I'll take a minute and enjoy that whiskey. Cold outside, I'll take a minute and enjoy this whiskey. Hot outside, I'll take a minute and enjoy that whiskey.
Eating bacon.
Late for work.
Yeah.
I'm not a patient person in the car, as you know.
No.
You've driven with me. If someone was like, hey man, I know you're in a hurry, but Laphroaig 25. I'd be like, I'll pull over.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody handed me this during the workday, it would be pretty much impossible for me to say no. And I'm not one to drink during work. That's not a thing you do.
It's not a thing.
No, that's not a thing. But like, if somebody's like, hey, here's Laphroaig 25, you're like...
What we're saying is anytime...
That's the day you text your boss and say, hey, FYI, I'm having a pour. It's Laphroaig 25.
It's Laphroaig 25.
I have to.
And either you understand exactly what I'm saying, or it's your fault you don't understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, if you don't get it, I'm sorry. Your whiskey life must be terrible.
You know what we're saying. Anyway, Dustin and I are both at 91 out of 100. This is 2018, still a rock solid Laphroaig 25.
Yeah.
Maybe the worst Laphroaig 25 I had, the 2016, maybe that's an 89. But I'm telling you, the 18 and the 17,
those were two epic bottles.
Of
Absolutely. I wish I could get, a full 10-year vertical or something just to like do them all at once. And we'd of course bring it to you here.
Absolutely would. As I did the three of them with you, but I need to get like a 13. 13 was good.
Okay.
14. So
And if we ever see a 2020, for some reason those have just not shown up. I don't.
Yeah, we said these are easier to hands-on than they are in general, but for whatever reason, I didn't see the 2020 version of this anywhere.
Yeah,
Anywhere.
the 2019's sitting around here locally, and their 2019s are the newest I see online. So I don't know, maybe they all went to local bottle shops or something in the UK.
Who knows?
Where are you guys hiding them?
Exactly.
Let us know.
Let us know. Anyway, those are our thoughts on the whiskey. Let's know your thoughts if you had a chance to try this particular one. And until next time, Dustin, what do we wish the folks?
Happy drinking.
See you next time.